Well, hi everyone. I got the practice test here. I'm going to take a look. I want to make this side equal that side, make it look like that side. So, the first thing I'm inclined to do is to say 1 over cosecant of x plus secant of x over cosecant of x. Just split that into two separate fractions. And cosecant of x, that's 1 over sine x. And secant of x, that's 1 over cosine x over 1 over sine x. So if I multiply this one by sine of x, so that those cancel out, and then I multiply the top by sine of x, then I've got here, this one right here is sine x, and if I multiply this by sine over x, and this by sine x, sine of x, not sine over x, that cancels, so that's 1 on the denominator. I'm looking at sine of x over cosine of x. Okay, so, and that's what tangent is, so that's equal to sine of x plus tangent of x, which leads me to that. Okay. The next verification here, cosecant of theta times tangent of theta equals secant of theta. Well, cosecant is 1 over sine theta. Tangent is sine of theta over cosine of theta. Those cancel, so this is 1 over cosine of theta, which is defined as secant of theta. And there we go. Okay. Now number 3, the point negative 410 lies on the terminal side of an angle. So let's draw that. Negative 410. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Negative 410 is here. Okay, kind of missed there. All right, so this is the angle we're talking about. This angle here, theta prime, will give us all the things we need. That's 10. That's negative 4. I need to figure out r, the hypotenuse here. So 10 squared plus negative 4 squared equals r squared, using Pythagorean theorem. And that's 100, and that's 16. So that's 116 equals r squared. And I'm going to take the square root. Not worried about the negative value. R will always keep as a positive value. And 116 is a multiple of 4. 4 times 25 is 100, and then 4 times 4 is 16. So that's 4 times 29 is R, and square root of 4 is 2. So 2 radical 29. That's what this side right here is, 2 radical 29. Now we're in business. We can start doing sine of theta, and that is the opposite side, 10, over hypotenuse, 2 radical 29. Okay, I'm going to cancel that out, and that gives me 5 over radical 29 when I factor 2 out of the top and bottom, and then I'm going to multiply by square root of 29 over square root of 29, and that gives me 5 radical 29 over 29. So I've got the sine. There's sine of theta. Cosine of theta, that's the adjacent side, which is negative 4 over 2 radical 29. And I'm going to do the same thing. 2 goes into both those. So that's negative 2 over the square root of 29, and we rationalize the denominator. and I get negative 2 radical 29 over 29. I got the cosine of theta now. Tangent of theta is the opposite over the adjacent, 10 over negative 4, which is negative 5/2. If I divide by 2, let's go cosecant of theta. Now, remember this one right here when we simplified first? Let's look for that because that makes it easier to write in the acceptable form. Cosecant is square root of 29 over 5. The secant of theta, I'll circle these. The secant of theta equals, that's right here. Let's go to the negative square root of 29 over 2. Flip that one. And finally, cotangent of theta is the reciprocal of negative 5/2, which is negative 2/5. All right. Now, number 4, similar problem, but we got to use the clues we have. Tangent of theta. Remember, tangent is sine over cosine. Tangent of theta is negative 15/8. The sine of theta is negative, or is less than 0. Well, the tangent's negative, the sine is negative. That means cosine has to be positive, because the only way you get a negative divided by a positive to have a negative result. All right. Well, the sine is negative, the cosine is positive, the x is positive, the y is negative, so that means we're like somewhere over here. Okay, and with our angle, so we'll put our theta here, and that's sine over cosine indirectly, so I'm going to put negative 15 down here, and then I'm going to put 8 right here. So this is negative 15, this is 8, and there's our point that I'm using, 8, negative 15. The sine is opposite, okay, tangent is opposite over adjacent, so we're good there. I'm going to get the easy one out of the way. Cotangent of theta is negative 8/15. Have not solved for r yet, the hypotenuse. 8 squared plus negative 15 squared equals r squared. And what are we looking at? 64. This is 225. That's 289 is r squared. And that is a perfect triple. That's 17 for r. So 17 is that. All right, so this should come together pretty nicely. Cotangent of theta is negative 8/15. I got the tangent of theta. The sine of theta is the opposite, negative 15 over the hypotenuse, which is 17. Sine cosine of theta is the adjacent, 8 over 17. Sine cosine. Let's get cosecant of theta is negative 17/15, and the secant of theta is 17 over 8. Okay. That is done. Okay. I'm going to put the next part on the next video, next page. So here we go.